In this video, I'm going to teach you how to start coding with the use of HTML and CSS. Now, this course is for absolute beginners, so if you've not wrote any code or you've not written any code at all in your life, this is the perfect course for you. Hi guys, my name is Stanley Chima and I'm a software engineer and a digital marketer. So do well to subscribe to this channel and like the video as well. So this is going to be a two-part video. The first part will be focusing on HTML and the second part will be CSS. So we'll be moving from HTML to CSS. Okay, and just for you to know, this course is for beginners, absolute beginners. So if you're someone that have never written any line of code, it is actually meant for you. So you don't need any pre-knowledge before you get into this. Okay, and we'll be doing little or no CSS in this particular course, in this particular first part. The next will be using HTML5 only. We don't want to use 4 points or whatever, not to get you into any form of confusion. And then finally, I just want you to know that you need patience. Okay, it's not gonna be a quick course. I see a lot of guys on the internet, on YouTube, will tell you that learn CSS, learn HTML, learn how to code in the next 20-25 minutes. Well, that is absolute bullshit. It's not gonna happen. Just for you to know, alright? So this requires patience. This video might take up to an hour or thereabout. I don't know yet as I'm filming it. So just for you to know that if you want to get into the profession of development, of software development and web designs, it requires you hours of watching tutorials and stuff like that. So now we've gotten this out of the way, let's go straight into this. So what is HTML? The full meaning is hypertext markup language. Now, just for you to know, HTML is not a programming language. It's a markup language. It's used for building block-up webs. Examples of programming languages are languages like Python, PHP, Java, JavaScript. You can actually make a website. You can build a website with HTML and CSS. You can build a basic website, more like a presentational website, okay, but not like functional website like e-commerce and stuff like that. So now, what are the requirements? We need 2 requirements. So it doesn't matter the PC you're using, Mac or Windows PC, it doesn't matter. We need 2 things: a text editor and a browser. So text editors, basically we use them for editing text, a number of them: Sublime text, Atom 10, VS Code, Visual Studio Code, brackets, Windows Notepad, which I wouldn't recommend you to use that at all. You can use Notepad++, but for the sake of this particular course, we'll be using Sublime text. So I just kind of like it. It's kind of light. And then next, we need a browser. The browser we'll be using is Chrome. So you can actually use any browser of your preference. It doesn't matter. I just generally like Chrome, and most programmers will also like Chrome. You can use Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Edge, but don't try to use Internet Explorer. I recommend you do not use that. Alright, so let's go on and start by installing Sublime text. So you can simply go to Google and search for Sublime text, or go to their website, but let me just search for Sublime text download. So this is the official site. Okay, so this is Sublime text 4. I think I already have a Sublime text. That should be 3. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and download this and install it. So select, I'm using Windows, we'll be using Mac OS, simply go there, or Unix, or wherever you use it. So I'm using Windows 64 bits. I'll go ahead and go for that. Also this one. So once you click there, it's gonna start downloading. Alright, here it's done downloading. Let me go ahead and install it. So we see the process step by step. So here it has downloaded. To install, just double click. So make sure you check this add to the Explorer context menu so that you can be able to click on a file. Right click on a file and you'll see the option to open with Sublime text. Go ahead and click next. Yeah, install. Okay, it's actually Sublime Text 3 installed, no problem. To do basically the same work. So once we're done installing that, we can go ahead and search for it here. Sublime Text 3. So yeah, this is it. So we now start up by creating our HTML file. Just a couple of things you need to know while creating HTML file is that this, you don't actually need a server, okay, to run this particular file, okay, and then the extension has to be .html. It must be that. And for your home page, the root has to be index.html. That is your root, which is actually your home page. And then lastly, you would have to run it in a web browser. So since we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead. First thing I'll do is to create a folder to skip my website. Let me just call it html1. So let me open the folder and make this a little bit small. Okay. Let me now create my HTML file. There are several ways you can do this, but let's just do it this way. Go ahead and create new text document. So I'll call it index, which will be my home. So this extension has to be HTML. Click OK. So it's gonna ask you if you want to change the file name. Yes. So as you can see, it's showing the simple this image of Chrome, okay, because it's my default browser. Alright, but if you don't see this, I'll show you how to fix it. If you don't see it appear this way, you simply go on View and then go to Option, Change Folder and Search Option. You then go to View again and scroll down. See, check for this hide extension for known files. Okay, so we just have to uncheck it. Make sure it's unchecked. Once you uncheck it, you click on apply, then okay, that will definitely get it fixed. It should, in case you still see dots text txt there, you just clean it. Just make sure the last one is HTML. Alright, so that is it. Now let's open this on our Sublime text. To do that, simply right click and go to open with Sublime. Okay, I have options here. Okay, see it here, open with Sublime text, and so that is it. So here this has opened. What we can do just to test this is to do, let's say hello world, then go ahead and save it. Click here and save, or simply do Ctrl S, which is definitely faster. Alright, so once that is done, let's go ahead and open this file. Double click on it. Alright, so you see the hello world appears here. So whatever you type here definitely appear. You just put another thing. Ctrl F to save. Go ahead and reload, or just do F5 if you're using a Windows. Okay, so that is it here. Now I'll do one thing. I'm just gonna reduce this. Let me keep them side by side for easy access. Okay, let me just make this a little bit small and this bigger. Alright, I think this is okay. So before we continue, let's just take a quick look at HTML tags. Now, tag is basic building block of any web page. Different tags format the ways informations are displayed. So the element name surrounded by angular brackets, and this normally comes in pairs. So we have the start tag and the end tag. Example here, the H1 is the start tag and the end tag, and they are usually the same except that the end tag has this forward slash on it. So you have the element here in between the information or whatever inside, and you have the tags before and after. The same thing here for the paragraph. Now there is this type of tag that is self-closing tag. This particular one, it's just one of it. It doesn't come to this BR. It's actually a line break. For this, you don't need anything. any kind of element to put on it or any information attached to it. And this is the way we use it in HTML5. You don't need to add a slash in HTML5. It just works that way. And we also look at HTML page structure. Okay, so we have the HTML here. First of all, you have the HTML here, and also the closing, like we said earlier about tags. So it's here and it closes here. Then inside of it, you now have the header. So here we have the header. The header hold nothing other than page title, links to CSS and JavaScript files, metadata, descriptions, keywords. So description and keywords are used for Google search for SEO to optimize your web pages. So the header doesn't really hold anything. All right, so again we have here the body, and this is where you put the whole information wherever you have to be displayed. So we cannot cover all this, then close it. And lastly, we look at the doc type. Okay, so this kind of a declaration, okay, telling the web browser what this is all about. So for HTML5, we just use inside the angular brackets, we put a exclamation mark, then write doc type in caps lock in capital letter, then HTML. Okay, so that is it. But for HTML 4.01, you will have these whole long stuff to be typing, and that's why I said I don't want us to have anything to do with HTML4 or 1 or anything. So we start off with the first thing. Let me go ahead and clean this. Putting in my doc type. Okay, then exclamation mark. Then in caps lock, doc type. So this is more of a declaration. So this HTML. I'll go ahead and close it. Oops. Alright, so I'm done with the declaration. The next thing I'm gonna put is the HTML. So let me go ahead and close this. So you notice once you put your forward slash, you will notice this kind of completes it for me. So that is it. So I'll go ahead and create some things. So I put my first indentation here. You use your tabs. So after that, I go ahead and put my head here to put my indentation here to do that. I'll go ahead for head. So Sublime Text kind of helps you bring it out. Just click on OK and then the job becomes easier. Then after the head, still on the same indentation, using my tab. The indentation is about 4 spaces, but just to keep it real and be perfect, always correct, make sure to just hit the tab key once. And it's also there, just hit enter and the rest is completed. Now under head, I just want to put only one thing here, which is title. Go ahead and put that title. Okay, that's the second one. Okay, so under the title, I will just write this, the name of our course, HT. Alright, I'll go ahead and do Ctrl S, then come back here, hit F5. Shortcut kind of helps. So you've noticed one thing, there is no change whatsoever anyway. You will notice that the web browser didn't really change anything. But let me make this large and show you what really happened. So if you check up here, you're gonna see, so this is what the title actually is. So I didn't put anything in the body of the website, so but the title is what I changed, which appears here, HTML crash course. So sometimes when you build in the browser, actually a lot of times you would want to see the source code that is running exactly on stuff like that. So what you can do is to Ctrl U, okay, to see exactly the code. Now because this is just HTML, it's not actually functional and active, you're not gonna see a lot of effect here, but if we get down to using JavaScript and the rest, you will definitely understand this part better. All right, so here again, you can also want to see the element and other things. You can simply click, let me go back here. You can simply click hit on F12, and this happens, or you simply right click and go to inspect. Let me close this. Simply right click and go to inspect. So go to your element. Now we'll just be focusing on element. There are tons of things you can do here and a lot of things. Check the networking, see which page is loading and stuff, everything you can possibly think of. Okay, but since this is just HTML, we're just going to focus on elements, and you can actually make edits from here and reload to see it take effect. All right, so that is it. Now let's go back to our HTML, to our this file. So I'll make this again like before. All right, I think that's okay. Go ahead and close this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the body and start adding some tags. So back to the body here, we start up by putting the h1, h2 tags and the rest of them. But before then, I just want to introduce you to comments. So we go ahead with that. This put exclamation mark, hyphen, sorry. It's whatever I want to write. Let me just call it headings. All right, so basically headings is more like a note. Okay, the developer's note. It's not gonna appear anywhere here. So let me just show you. Do Control S. I've saved it. Go ahead and refresh this page. So you see nothing appears here. So it's more like a note for you to help you to remember the things you've done earlier. So let's go ahead and put some of these tags h1. So as you can see, they're already here, so they're really gonna help us to be faster. So h1, let me put some text here. Is header. So let's save and refresh here and see. So you see how it is. All right, so this actually is bigger. We have different h1, h2, h2, 3, 4, 5, or thereabout. Okay, so you would notice this is big. Now if I'm to add header 2, let me go for that. H2, let me just select it to be faster and just say this is header 2. Go ahead and save, refresh. So you notice this is smaller than this, relatively smaller than this, with some padding. Okay, so that's the way it works. Let's put another one. Header 3, h3. Oh, sorry. What's that? H3. So code is header 3. Save and see. So let's just do with the rest and let's see what it gives us. H4. Just add one more here. That's, I'll go ahead and see. Oh, so, okay, so this is, I actually wanted to say this earlier. This is just the disadvantage of not paying for the software. So from time to time, they will just keep popping up this annoying thing asking you to. But anyway, every time you just click cancel, you don't need to pay for anything. So let me save it. I'll go ahead and refresh. So you see, so that it is padding and all of them are relatively smaller than each other. So here, the next thing we do here is, let me just push this down. Let me just put this body down a bit. Okay. So the next thing I want to add here is, sorry, I'm gonna go down. Okay, so next thing I want to add here is it will be a paragraph, but before then let me put a comment just for easy access. So I'll just copy that one and call this paragraph. Hope I spelled that well. So let me indent this. So after that, I just go ahead and put the paragraph tag, which is the right. So enter. So there it is. But I'll just push it down this way. So I'll not type whatever you want to type inside. But let me give you some hints. If you're using Sublime text, you can actually generate just some text, some dummy text file, or just want to use. Just simply type lorem. Oops, sorry. After that, you hit the tab button. Okay, yeah. So it's just gonna generate some dummy text for you. Okay, so I will just let's go ahead and see the way it is now. I'll refresh. So this is the paragraph here. So here you can actually put some text and different things. So just like the header, it also comes with some padding and then some margin. Some margin as well. So let me just put up another paragraph. Just copy this and paste it here. Okay, let me save it and refresh it. So you see it has this padding that it comes originally with. Alright, so let's go ahead and inspect this. You do F12 or just right click and go to inspect. So let's see what is exactly going on here. Let me change this to so that I can see. Alright, so if you were to go here, you will notice as I'm scrolling, it appears there and keeps showing me what exactly is going on there. Okay, so I can actually go to anywhere. For instance, this so as I scroll here, if I come to somewhere like, let's say, paragraph here, I'll click on this P. So under the styles, you're going to see the default style setting. So if you see this user agent style, it's simply telling you it is set by the browser. So this is the default styling. Now, like I said, we're doing little or no CSS here, so I'm not going to get into this. And the next class that covers CSS, we're going to take closer attention to that. So that is it here. Go ahead and close this. So quickly as we proceed, I want to show you inline versus block level elements. So inline elements are simply those elements that they do not start on a new line. Okay, so we're going to see a lot of them as we proceed in, and they take only the necessary width that they need. Okay, otherwise block elements start a new line and they take full width that is available. Okay, so example of block element, you have the div, the h1 into h6 paragraph form. Then that of inline, things like span, image, the a that's for link. All right, so let's proceed with this. So back here we go ahead and add some tags. So let me just come and pick this particular word here, and before it I'm gonna add an em tag. That's for emphasis. So I do this, then type em. It already comes out. I go ahead and click, and yeah, I can now put the word in between it. Let me just copy this word and put it there. Alright, so if I go ahead and save this and refresh this here, so you're gonna notice it has this kind of display. Some emphasis has been laid on that. Okay, so that is it. So we can also add another one that is strong. Okay, the strong. So go ahead and do that. I'll pick another word here and go on to it. Strong is there. Okay, so it's already there. Let me just pick this word. Elaborate, whatever it is. So let's refresh here and see. So you notice it has this thickness, becomes kind of more thick. Okay, so actually you can do all this with CSS, but since this is just HTML, let's not bother about all that. So here, the next thing I want to add here is the A tag, that is for links. I'll do it in the second paragraph. Let me see here. I come here and do my A. So kind of comes out here. I select it to be faster. So this has the A href, then equal to, then inside the apostrophe is where you put the website you want to go to. So I want to put Google website here, which should be https. Okay, I'll just go ahead and copy it from online, and that'll be faster. Okay, so I'll just copy this and paste it here just for me to be fast. Let me remove the last slash. Okay, so in between the edge arrow, this first apostrophe, that's where you put in the web address. But then again, a text need to display where the person can click on to access it or whatever. Okay, so this is where you put it. In between these two, you can now put in the text. Let me just say click here. Let me save that and refresh it. So as you can see, there is click here, and if you look below, you're gonna see it takes you to Google. So let me go ahead and click on it. So as you can see, it has taken us to Google. So that's for link. Let me go back. But if you go into an external link, I mean to a link that is outside your website, it's advisable you still want to keep the people in your website. So to go ahead and open on the next tab, on another tab. So let me show you how that is done. We just have to add the add target to the original tag. Is immediately after this, full space, then go for target. It's already up there, so I'll select it, and inside the quotation I'll add underscore blank. Okay, let me go ahead and save this, refresh. Nothing really happened, but let's go ahead and click on it this time. So as you can see, it leaves my original tab and opens it up. But just make sure you don't use this on your own website. I mean, people will not be opening new tabs each time they want to access any page or anything. So that is it for this area. Next, we're going to look at how to add lists. And let me come here and create another. So to continue, let me just add comments. I'll go here and copy comment. Let me give some space in here. So let me go and copy these comments here. And just comment list. Alright, so just for you to know, there are two types of lists. There is the ordered list and the unordered list. Okay, so let me start by giving you the list that is not ordered, the unordered one. Let me create this. I'll use the tag here, UL, which is simply hit enter. Let's create some space inside. Then under it, so inside it, I'll start adding the list, which is LI rather. So let me go and just call it, let me just make a list rice, probably because I'm hungry. Anyways, add the next list. I'll call this beans. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just copy this. so that it's gonna save me some time. So let me this part. Okay, let me just change this to something like group. So let me save this and let's refresh. Alright, so as you see here, it has created a list, and we notice it comes with bullet points and some paddings. So let's go ahead and inspect this and see. So if you check here, you would notice it comes with some original padding and some margin and all the rest of them. So that again you can actually modify with CSS. Okay, so let me close this and get back to this. So that is it for unordered list. So let's check for ordered lists now. Reduce this a bit. Okay, so I'll just simply copy this to save some time and simply change this to so for ordered list it's OL. I'll go ahead and change this name. Let me just say maybe computer keyboard monitor and mouse. So we'll go ahead and save this. Oh, not you again. Go ahead and save and refresh. So you see the difference. So this one particular one has the number, kind of numbered and properly ordered. So basically we use the unordered list for making things like menu. Okay, if you see your nav there, your navigation menu, to just have a bunch of displays that you can style with proper colors and all the rest of them. Alright, so that's what the unordered list are used for. So as I proceed to go into the next one, but you would notice this is always, I actually don't want you guys to be looking at the bottom of the screen, so I'll add something here. It necessarily don't have to do that. So I'll add a div here. Let me go ahead and refresh this. So as you can see, this space has been created here. And so the next thing I want us to add here will be table. Comment as usual. I'll call this table. Okay, so to continue with that, I'll go ahead and add the table tag. And just for you to know, the table actually comes with a number of tags in between. So the first one I'll put here will be the table head, and I'll go ahead and put the tag T head. Okay, so that's one. Then also another tag here, so alongside the table will be the T body. So don't worry, before we're done, it will all get very clear. That's the T body. Yeah, so okay, so let me go ahead and fill in informations inside each of them. So here I'll go ahead and put a heading and then the row. So I'll call this T R, and then go ahead and put the T H. Yep, so that's it. Then the table head. So let me go ahead and call this, let's say, name, and then add another th, say h, And then the last one, I just want to use 3. Let me just say number. Okay, so just this. So let's go ahead and save this and see the way it appears here. Okay, so as you can see, I have my name, age, and number. So wherever I put under the keyboard, yes, gets to cover comes under this. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we start by adding the role as we did before, the tr, the table row. So bring this down. Sorry, we can't use th. We can't use th. So since it's not a head, it's actually a data. So we go ahead and use 2td. So under the name, let me put my name here, Stanley. And I'll just copy this. And then under age, I'll just go ahead and give myself some age. 29. My 29. I'm not up to 29 yet. So number, we just put the number here. See, this number signifies me. So I'll go ahead, save this and refresh. So this is what it looks like, but most definitely in your case, you're gonna have more than one row in different names, ages, and numbers. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this, paste, still paste one last one, and then change their names. Let me just say David. Let me say 26. And change one of the figures. Let's say James here. Let's say 69. And change also a figure here. I'll go ahead, save and refresh. So as you can see, this is the way it is. Now, if you notice, this is quite ugly. Especially if I have longer numbers and longer names, everything is just gonna be completely messy. So with the ease of CSS, you can actually arrange your table and get it to look nice. So we go to the next thing we have here. That will be forms. I'll go ahead and add my comment. Okay, so go ahead and add the form tag. I believe you've already figured it out. Okay, but that for the form, we still need to add a couple of things in between. So here, I'll go ahead and add action. So what is it? And here will be where you're sending the form to. That will be process. For instance, let me just say this is a file, process dot php, that's the file here, and then Martin method Martin here method should be equal to posts. So the method should be equal to post. Okay, so this is actually a whole lot complex, but I don't want to get into all these. There should be more in advanced classes, but just know that this is the layout where you kind of send it to. Okay, so to continue with this, let's go ahead and put on a label. So okay, so let's say inside the label I'll call first name. So under the label, go ahead and get an input. The input is going to have a type, and the type here we're looking at is text. So under the name, now I don't really want to go into the whole PHP complex, but if we were actually sending an order to the PHP server, it would make more sense. But let's just go ahead here and add first name, but it doesn't really make any difference. So let's save this and see. I'll refresh here. So you would notice it has this already, but you notice that this and the other ones are very well together. So I'll go ahead and add it out here. So I'll just put a line break. PR. So if I save this and refresh, you would notice this. So kind of add this line break, this sort of space. That's not all. I also feel like I should add a line. So I'll put HR here. Then if I save and reload, you will see this line here. So I'll just come under it and add another line break. So I think this looks quite better. Okay, so let's get back to what we were doing earlier. So let's do another field here. I'll just copy this and create another field here. Let's just say last name. So what I'll change here will be here. Okay, so let's refresh and see. So but if you notice this and this, they are inline tags, so they're kind of in the same line. But if you know your forms, they kind of stay, one after the other, one on top of the other. So to fix that, I'm gonna use div. If you remember, div is a block level element. So to do that, I'll simply put each of them in a div. So add div here. Copy this and put it at the end here. Then push this inside. Okay. I'll go ahead and add another div. Alright, so let's go ahead and check the difference now. Okay, so this worked, and again they are too close. I'm sure you must have figured out what we do here, but normally we would have used CSS to arrange that, but since we're not doing CSS, let's just use a line break and get that done. Okay, so perfect, we have a better looking form now. So to continue, I'll go ahead and add another one. Let's say an email. So I'll copy the whole of this and add one more. So I'll change this to email. And then the type, I can actually use text. It will work. Let me change this to email. So if I use text, it's most definitely gonna work. Okay, but in HTML5, we actually have this type that allows you to use email. Okay, so what this does is that if someone is to put in, so if someone is to put in an email that is not correct, it will kind of tell the person, the person has to put the correct email. So the next one we're gonna add would be for message. Definitely somebody will want to drop a message. So change this to message. And then the type. Now we can use input and use text here. There's actually a tag available for message, which is text area. Okay, yeah. So that's the tag there. So I'll go ahead and clean this. So I'll go here and add name equal to message. So we go ahead here and save it and reload. So as you can see, it's this thing, and if you're using Chrome, you can be able to adjust it. Okay, so the next we have here, it would be a select list, you know, kind of a situation when the person would have to choose an option. So I just copy this and let me change this. Let's just say gender. Person to choose the agenda. So this, change this text area to select. Select. Okay, go ahead and move this down. So after that, I go ahead and add the options. So I'll be under a tab, option. Okay, that's it. So here the option, you have the original text to display here will be male. But inside the option, I have to add the value, which is equal to male in this case. So this is this text that the people, the public are gonna see. That's gonna be displayed. So I'll go ahead and add more options. I think add one, add another one. So the next one, we just call this female, and on display. Just call it others. Here the value others. So let's save this and see how it shows. Okay, so you see here you have the options here. So this could really come very handy and helpful in a lot of situations. Okay, so here I want to add another one. Let's say H. I'll go ahead and copy this one, come down here. So this is label. I'll change this to H. So for the input type, it's gonna be number, and the name is gonna be H, and I'll add up another one. Value is gonna be 30. So let's check this and see. So here it is. You can choose anywhere and end, you know, as much as you want to. So let's also add another one. So let's go ahead and copy this div again and have it there. So I'll change this label to birthday. Okay, and then the input type should be dates. This name here, simply change it birthday, link this value. Okay, yes, that's all. Go ahead, save, and so here we have this and the calendar there. This is what HTML5 helps and kind of shows the current dates of me filming this video. All right, so that is it here. So one more thing I would like to show in this area will be placeholder. Before, if you're using HTML 4, you would have to use JavaScript to do that, but you can actually do that with HTML5 just by writing placeholder. Let me say, for instance, this is first name. Your first name. Let's save this and reload. So it kind of appears there. So it displays there, but if you notice, if you click in, you have to erase it yourself So like I was saying before, you'd have to use JavaScript to make that go away, and trust me, it's a whole lot. But HTML5 actually made it possible that you can just use placeholder and let me clean this. Just put it here. And then only go ahead and clean the rest. Okay, I think I'm good. I'll go ahead and refresh, and as you can see it's even faint, so you can just write on top of it. So you can go ahead and do the rest for any of them you find interesting to do it on. So the last thing I want us to do here is to add an input button. So I'm just gonna call it is to add a submit. So go ahead and use an input. So the type, I'll call it submit. So the name here also submit. Then lastly, I'll add a value to it. It should be equal to submit as well. So let's go ahead and see this. So this is it here. So that is it. I think I might have spelled my submit wrong. Okay, so that's fine. For the value, I can actually use a placeholder here in place of the value if I want, but that's okay here. Fine. I'm not actually using line break. I know I should have done that, but I can actually get all those corrected with the use of CSS. That's why I'm not really bothered. You can also add your button outside the form. So I will just use a button tag, and that should be this. Then here I can simply write maybe click me or anything, and let's save and see. So here nothing is gonna happen. It's not gonna take you to anywhere because you need JavaScript to make it to be functional. Okay, so let's go over to the image tag. I will add some comments. I didn't add comment for the button. Maybe I'll copy my initial comments here. Add one here and another one here. So this is button. This is image. Okay, think you're doing well. The image tag, the img, is actually a self-closing tag. So as you can see, it doesn't have the slash this. So the next thing you have here will be the source. Okay, so the source, and the next one will now be the image, where the image is. Let me just say sample 1 and save this. So let's refresh this page. So as you can see, there is no image here. Before that, let me break here. So as you can see, there is no, an image is not displaying because this particular sample 1 is meant to be the name of that particular image. So let's go ahead and grab a sample image. Let me just say image, and let's say this will do. I would want to save it in the particular place where I have my files, where my HTML, where my index.html thing should be here inside desktop HTML1. So I'll go ahead and name it the same name, sample1. Sample1, and this is JPEG. So take note of the extension. Alright, so let me come back here and then finish the work I started here by adding the extension dot jpeg. Go ahead and save, refresh, save this and refresh this. Okay, I didn't add e. So as you can see, it has appeared here. So if this happens to be a PNG image and I'm messing it up this way, it's not gonna show. The best way I love to do that is to go to where it is. This is it. Just right click to rename. I don't want to open this. Just to rename the image and grab the name, or you simply do F2 and then copy the whole name. In that way, I'll be sure not to make any mistake. But then if you are developing a website, you wouldn't want your image to just be anywhere. You generally want to put your image in a particular folder. So you call it img or just image. I just call it img and move this particular sample image inside it so it stays inside. Okay, so let's go back to the Sublime text. Oops, think my Sublime has closed. Just open it again. Yes, I closed it by mistake. Close this. So here, make it as large as before. So here, let me refresh. Now the image, I've moved it so it's not able to see it in the same directory. You can also add alternates. Should in case it doesn't see the image, what the text, it should show you a text. So I'll just say this is sample image. I'll save this and refresh. So once the image is not there, it's just gonna show this alternate text. So let me go ahead and fix this. So the directory we put it in is images, right? So img/. So let me save now and refresh. So there it is. It's been added properly. So I just hope you understand this area very well. So again here, if you like, you can actually wrap a link around an image. So if you want, once you click, it will open up in a browser. So I'll add the A here. Okay, so I'll put, let me put this at the end. And indent this. Okay, so I'll point it to this image. Let me just go ahead and grab the link and paste it here. So I'll save it. So let's see what happens here. So once someone is to click here, it's simply gonna open in a browser. Okay, so browsers don't just open up website web pages, they also open images, PDF, and some other files. So here we're almost done with this basic HTML. But for this section, let's look at one more thing: quotations. I'll go ahead and add this. Call it okay. Indent this. So for the quotes here, we have about 3 quotes we'll be working with: block quote, abbreviate, and cite. So the first one, let's look at block quote. Go ahead and add a tag block quote. Oops, what did I just do? to block quote, and go ahead and bring this down. So you'll go ahead and add sites and point it to the website or wherever. Let me just say I'm getting it from google.com. That's okay. And then I'll go ahead here and add my text tab. So here it is. That's okay. I'm meant to add HTTPS. So go ahead and save this. Go ahead and save this. Then refresh here. Oops, my break is showing. Oh, that click me. Let me fix that immediately. I think I made a mistake here. Okay, corrected. So as you can see, it added some styling to it, unlike the normal paragraph. So if you hit href, you can see here I already have it showing here. The site is already there. So okay, so that's it for this. So the next one we look at, oops. So the one for abbreviations, we could go ahead and do this. So let me go ahead and say a paragraph, and I put, let me say this not a MMO. So this MMO, make money online. Let me just remove the A just to be. So this is not MMO, and to wrap this, I can go ahead and bring in the ABB and add a title, some space here, add a title, pointing the title to make money online. Go ahead and add this. So let's go ahead and see. I'll refresh this now, and oops, didn't do something. Okay, it's actually working. So this is not a once I move, you're gonna see make money online there. So that is how that is done for abbreviation for the ABB. Okay, so if you notice something, I actually forgot to close my ABB. So let me go ahead and close it here. So that should be here. I have my /. Okay, it's already completed. So I think it should have an underline or something like that. Still doesn't have that. Anyways, I think I'm done here. So let's go for the last one. That will be sites. So let's put a paragraph here. Let's say I put P tag here. HTML crash course by Stanley Chima. So let me just add the HTML crash course in a site tag. The closing. So here I'll save it. So let's reload and see. So you would notice this HTML is kind of italic crash course. So that's the function of. So that's it for HTML, the basic tags. So the next we're going to talk about HTML semantic tags. So here you have the HTML5 semantic tag. This actually helps and guides you. So you will see first the header. So this contains possibly your site information in the beginning. So here you have the header. Okay, then you have the nav that contains your menu, your navigation bars, then you have the sections. So if you have informations in your site, this is where you keep them. Then you have articles, so if you have more information about them, like blog posts, you can actually attach them there. Then these aside could be your let's say you also have more informations like blogs. So the aside will be more informations on some navigations. Then lastly you have the footer. So the footer is where you have your company information or business information, policies or some things like that. Okay. So here I'll go ahead and start a new file altogether. So let me go and create a new text document. I'll call it log.html. So let me go ahead and open it with Sublime text. So here what I'll do HTML and hit tab, so it kind of gives me this already done ahead of time, okay, with some meta and this. So you can clean this or you can just leave it. So let me save this and then open it in my browser. Alright, so here it is. Go ahead and close the other ones. So here on the title, I'll go ahead and name it. Let me just name it Tech News, just for this. That's for the title. Then inside the body, in the body I'll go ahead and add a header. So the header, I'll call it N News. Alright, but this is actually supposed to be under H1, so let me correct that quickly. H1. Okay, I think that's okay now under the header. So come here and go ahead and add section. This section. Then inside the section I will add article. So I will use H3 here. And then add, let's say 2024 latest mention just for this. And then one thing I've not shown you before is small tags. So I'll use small tags here, for something like adding the date or time of publication. So I'll add something like, let me see, published by Stanley Chima on today's date, I think 22 November 2023. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll save this and refresh to see this. So you see the effect of the Ella Media Tech News and then the latest invention. What? Okay, there's a mistake here. I did HI instead of H1, so that's why it's kind of small. It's meant to be big. So alright, so that is it. So that's what it's like here. Now go ahead and add the actual information, the actual article. So I use P here to add it. So let me just bring this down. So since this is a post, you should have a class of posts. Okay, so let me go ahead. This time around, I just want to use ChatGPT and ask some questions. So here, let me just grab this. It doesn't really gonna make sense, but just looking for information to fill up. Yeah. So I'll go to my Sublime here and add this. No. To correct the indentation. Okay, so if we to save and reload this, so we already have something there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm simply gonna copy these articles and duplicate them. So let me open ChatGPT and go ahead and just copy these things here. That's the first. So this should be the second. But then again, let me make some corrections here. These are meant to be the heading. So sort of latest invention. And then again, you don't have to do all this. I'm just trying to make it seem a little bit proper. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Okay, so this is what it actually looks like now. So here you can as well want to have a link to the full post, since it's an article, since it's a blog. So I'll go ahead and add it here. So I add an a tag here. And let me just call it post.html, just assuming it's the post there. Then I'll write here, read more. So go ahead and copy this, put it on the rest. Should have done this earlier. So we save and refresh here. So as you can see, now it's not gonna lead anywhere because the files are not there. So So what I can do is to just change this to hash so that it stays on the same page. Let's see, that's for the last one. So if you to click on it, so next we want to have some aside. So under you come outside the section. So after the section, you go ahead and add the tag side, and then you can give it the name. So I'll give it h3 tag. Can give it the name categories, if I got that right. So I'll add a navigation first of all. So after adding the nav, okay, everything should be inside the nav. I can go ahead and add my list. URL, and then go ahead and list them with some a tags. I'll go ahead and add a tag. It's gonna take to, let me just say, I'll just use hash here, so it just basically stays on the same page. It doesn't take us anywhere. We call this get jobs, and I'll go ahead and copy this. And the last one, I'll call it so let's go ahead and see this. And here the category. So normally you're supposed to use CSS and JavaScript, arrange it and place it the CSS to place it the way you want it to be, but since we're not getting into that, we'll deal with that later on. So here lastly, what I want to put here will be the footer, and to do that, simply grab its footer, and you can just bring this down and then put a paragraph. See here, I just want to put my copyright. So here I can simply do and copy. That's 2023. Log. So let's see how it turns out to be. And okay, so we already have our copyright down here. And so what I actually use this and copy to do is to put this copyright symbol. So you might want to use a number of different headers multiple times. So what I'll do here is to give it an ID, call it main header. That's better. And I also do the same thing for my footer. Give it an ID. It's main footer. Just to help ease the work. Now I actually don't want to do CSS, but we'll just do a little styling here with CSS. Usually you would have to put your CSS file in another file. You have to put your CSS in another file, but I'll just put it all together here. In the next video after this will be the CSS course, where we style this simple website to look very nice. So here, what I could do is to come up here under the title, set my header and add style. So CSS kind of Sublime text kind of add this, and you don't really need to do it. So let's go on. So I'm not going to be giving some explanations a lot here, but so to grab, I want to grab the main header. So to reach out to the ID, use the number sign. Main header, okay, it's already there. And use this. So let me make some changes there. So let me do text align, put it to center. Still, I want to change the background color. Let me just use the color blue. Next, in the text color, I will just write use color. Let me say color red and white. Then just add a little padding. Let me use 10 pixels. So let's save this and take a look at the change. So as you can see, we have this nice header. So the last one I'll do will be for the footer. The footer, let me just align it to the center. You see it's one-sided. So remember, for the footer we use main footer is the ID. So I'll go ahead here, aside this one, and pick on that. Main footer. So I'll just do text align, center, and that's it. So let's refresh and check. So that's it here. So here, the last thing we do here is to look at the meta. So I'll just leave this tool they already have and just add mine here. So I'll just copy this and paste this identity. Okay, so this viewpoint, I will change this to a description, and the content will be my content. Let's say so Ella Media amazing blog. Okay, so that's it. I'll copy this again and add some so here I want to add some keyword. So I'll call it keyword. So Google is actually going to look this up, and I'll put as many keywords I want. Development. And stuffs like that. Keep put as much as you need. So we save this. If we actually reload here, you're not gonna see any effect here, but if you check at the back end, here you're gonna see it. So this is what Google is gonna look up and recommend your your blog and all the rest of them. So guys, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like the video if you really enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more videos like this, and wait for the part 2 of the video. Should be dropping immediately after this one drops. So my name is Stanley Chima.